Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're falling down an absolutely fascinating rabbit hole together. We're diving into a topic that is literally going to change how you look at the natural world and, honestly, how we design our entire future. We're talking about fungi in technology and design. So let's just jump right in and explore what's happening right now in labs and design studios across the globe.
Okay, let's dive into this. Nature's duct tape. Now, when you think of fungi or mushrooms, your mind probably goes straight to, what's sliced up on your pizza, or maybe foraging in some damp, mossy forest. But actually, scratch that. We need to reframe that right now. Fungi are not just a simple food source anymore. They are rapidly becoming one of the most powerful, world-saving tools in modern technology and design. Seriously, they're kind of the ultimate biological fix-all. But before we get to the really wild, futuristic applications, we gotta establish our foundational biology. We need to talk about mycelium. So, what is it? Mycelium is essentially the root-like structure of a fungus. Think of the mushroom that pops out of the ground as just the apple on a tree, right? The mycelium is the tree itself, this vast, hidden, branching network growing underneath the soil. Now, what makes this network so incredibly strong is that its cell walls are made of chitin. That's the exact same tough, resilient stuff that makes up the exoskeletons of insects and crabs. This microscopic, interconnected, armored web is the true workhorse of the fungal kingdom. And it's exactly what scientists and designers are harvesting right now to build our future.
So, how does this translate into everyday stuff? Well, one of the most immediate and honestly impactful uses of mycelium right now is in mushroom packaging. Instead of manufacturing synthetic plastics that are just going to sit in landfills for centuries, companies are literally growing the future from agricultural waste. They take discarded plant matter, stuff that farmers would normally just throw away, they introduce mycelium to it, and then they just let the fungus bind it all together into a solid, durable shape. Imagine holding it in your hands. It's lightweight, it's surprisingly sturdy, and it even has this slightly velvety texture. It's a massive contrast to that squeaky, brittle, synthetic feel of traditional styrofoam. And the best part? It's actively being used right now as a direct replacement.
And hey, if you're thinking this is just some fringe science experiment happening in a tiny, isolated lab somewhere, no way. Look at the heavy-hitting brands adopting this right now. We are talking about major global players here. You've got Dell, IKEA, they're utilizing this tech for their packaging needs. And fashion giants, Pangea, Hermes, Adidas, Stella McCartney, they're all actively using fungi-based materials, specifically fungal leather. This perfectly grounds our explainer in reality today. This technology is already here, it is scalable, and it's quite literally in the hands of consumers around the world.
Now, whenever we look at a supposed miracle material, we've got to be objective, right? Let's look at the pros and cons. On the pro side, this stuff is astonishing. Mushroom packaging composts in just 45 days. 45 days. And fungal leather, it's lightweight, breathable, and grown completely cruelty-free in these flat sheets rather than raised on animals. So yes, the environmental pros are absolutely massive. But there are still some physical limitations we're trying to overcome. Right now, it's not naturally waterproof, so it needs a plant-based coating to protect it from the elements. In practice, this means the material might have a slightly waxier finish than traditional animal hide, and researchers are still tweaking the formula to perfectly match that decades-long durability of high-end cowhide.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this number right here. Wrap your head around this. $5,000. That is the price tag of a Hermes bag made entirely from fungal leather. I just want you to pause and think about that dramatic contrast for a second. We are taking something derived from root-like structures, literally grown in dirt and agricultural waste, and we're elevating it to the absolute peak of high-end luxury fashion. It perfectly proves that pushing for sustainability absolutely doesn't mean you have to compromise on premium quality or aesthetic appeal. Okay, we've covered fashion and packaging, but let's shift gears a bit. We are officially entering the sci-fi phase of this explainer. The applications for fungi are expanding so rapidly into mind-blowing, futuristic, high-tech infrastructure. This is the frontier, guys. This is where raw biology directly meets structural engineering and computing. For instance, think about self-healing concrete. Concrete cracking is a massive, incredibly expensive global infrastructure problem. But researchers are now embedding dormant fungi spores right into the concrete mixture in construction. It works a lot like how your body forms a scab over a scrape to heal your skin. So, step 1. When a crack eventually forms in a building or a bridge and rainwater seeps in, those dormant spores suddenly wake up and germinate. Step 2. As they grow, the spores produce a mineral called calcium carbonate. And step 3, that calcium carbonate physically fills up and seals the crack. The concrete is literally healed by a living organism resting inside of it. How wild is that? And this brilliantly illustrates fungi's potential to tackle another massive global crisis: electronic waste. I mean, just imagine the towering mountains of discarded phones, laptops, and appliances sitting in dumps right now. Well, we're now looking at the reality of biodegradable circuit boards. Because mycelium can actually be structured and manipulated to conduct electricity, it can function as the actual hardware inside your devices. So when you're finally done with a gadget, the internal board doesn't just sit in a toxic landfill for 1,000 years leaching heavy metals. It simply decomposes completely harmlessly back into the earth.
And hey, if compostable circuit boards weren't wild enough, we are also looking at raw data storage. Scientists have literally successfully encoded the phrase "hello world" directly into fungal DNA. Now I know this sounds like pure magic, but think about how DNA naturally operates. It stores genetic code using 4 basic building blocks: A, C, T, and G. Scientists are essentially taking the digital ones and zeros of computer code and substituting them for that biological sequence. Mushrooms might just be able to remember data better, and for much, much longer periods than our current silicon hard drives. By utilizing the incredibly dense information storage capacity of biological DNA, we are opening the door to true biological computing. It absolutely sparks immense curiosity about what the data centers and server farms of our future might actually look like.
Let's zoom out to the big picture for a moment to really capture why all of this matters so much. Fungi are quietly solving the exact problems that our reliance on plastic created over the last century: staggering waste, severe global pollution, and our endless dependence on completely unsustainable materials. Think about the sheer volume of single-use plastic you toss into your recycling bin every single week. To put that into perspective, imagine if all of that could simply be tossed into the garden to feed the soil instead. Now, it is important to acknowledge that a lot of these high-tech computing and infrastructure projects are still in laboratories or early commercial phases, but the momentum to replace plastics, that is incredibly real. The applications we are discovering go way, way beyond what we've imagined so far. So, the crucial point is that we are tapping into an ancient, highly resilient power here. Just to give you an idea of the sheer scale we are talking about, the largest living organism on planet Earth is not a blue whale, it's not a giant redwood tree, it is a single fungus located in Oregon. It covers an astonishing 2,385 acres of land and is estimated to be 2,400 years old. That's roughly enough to cover a couple thousand football fields. That is thousands of years of evolutionary perfection, survival, and adaptation that we are just now finally learning to partner with. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder today. How much of our future technology will be grown rather than manufactured? As we look ahead, the rigid line between human engineering and the natural world is blurring in the most exciting way possible. We're quickly learning that the absolute best way to build a sustainable future might just be to let nature do the heavy lifting for us. I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity and showed you exactly why the fungal kingdom is so vital to our technological future. Keep asking questions, keep looking for those brilliant natural solutions, and I will see you in the next explainer.